intentionally left out Minister Plenipotentiary. I guess it's going to be handled by the civil service. And 2 ministers are not through yet with the screening, so they started with 5. What do you see? How do you think about this approach to government?
You know, I think if there was enough time to do all that screening and stuff. I don't know then if things have changed and they had to change candidates, then that could have happened. But it's a small, it's 7 ministers. It's not a Ruba Crusoe with 12 or 13, and they do it. They have it done. So you know, why should it take so long? But I personally was against a new government, interim governments, into coming in for this so short time, costing us a bunch of money. So doesn't make much sense to me. Doesn't make much changes. I don't know what a person can do in 2-3 months. So it's just costing taxpayers a bunch of money.
I don't know. I don't know if it's costing money. It's mostly budget neutral. But my point is this: with elections around the corner and all the people who have been now sworn in as ministers are in the campaign and they're going to be out, so there's not going to be much office time.
Exactly.
I had said before that I thought they should have gone for a business cabinet in the interim, you know, and let things run, and the business cabinet would have sit there when it's over, that's it. And besides that, the task or the instruction coming from the governor, that's something we need to check, because there's no allowance for that in the Constitution. But even so, you can't load down a government with so many things for 3 months or 4 months. It doesn't make sense. We didn't get it done in 2 years. How in the world are we going to get it done in 4 months?
Listen, it's such a joke that the governor would task them down, especially with legislation, knowing very well, very well, what the time it takes for legislation to get on the floor of Parliament, to go through all the advisory bodies, and then when it even is approved by Parliament, it has to sit 30 days before it be published by the Gazette. So,
And
you know,
it has to be vetted. It's law. It got to
yeah,
be
it had to be
vetted by the ombudsman.
Ombudsman to see
Just
if
for
it-
6 weeks to vet it.
Yes. So why are we, why are we telling our people these things and we know it's impossible?
I don't know. I've asked that a lot of time, but I think it's impossible. I saw the incoming prime minister say, yeah, they're going to honor all the agreements, and including the airport and so. Well, that's an agreement that should have been signed off by the outgoing government. That's understandable, because you can't go now and change those things. There's continuity. But for some of the other things, I don't understand. If the governor's position is supposed to be apolitical, I can't understand the governor dictating to a government, this is an interim government. So what do you tell the government after election? That no, you can't come in with your program, you got to do the program of the last government? That doesn't work. It doesn't even make sense. And I don't understand why an informateur or formateur will take that as guidelines.
You know, we have created some habits here since we became country, and it's now biting us in our butt and biting government to come. Some horrible habits that is not done in no other part of the kingdom, and we just accepting and we create and accepting them.
We have been doing that for a while. Another thing, today Parliament will be meeting, I think this morning, to vet the credentials of the incoming MPs. The MPs are for the St. Martin Christian Party. Is outgoing Mr. Smith. Mr. Peterson, MP Peterson, has resigned to give Smith the seat to go back to Parliament. For the NA, it will be Samuel coming back in of Samuel, and Anna Richardson and Ludmilla Duncan. The three will be coming in to replace the three that have taken up the minister's post. So Parliament will have a different look. Parliament, at least by my judgment, was going pretty strong with the young people.
Yeah.
And I see there are quite some young people here in.
Yeah.
But we have to wait and see how they'll function in the few months that is left, you know, in this government.
I questioned, and I said, even though, you know, I understand and I honor what Mr. Chacho said that when Mrs. Smith, you know, and then I asked myself, as political leader, just leaving the prime ministership position, why do you want to go back to parliament? Just leave Chacho, finish it off, and you go ahead leading the party, getting the party ready for election.
Even that too is, you know, the same thing with the others. That was my whole argument about a business cabinet. But in this specific case, if you go and read the laws on who is paid for what time after they leave office, Smith has passed the age.
Yeah.
Over 62, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a way for him to collect and go ahead for the next 3 or 4 months and run a campaign. Because should he step down and just be out there, he doesn't have income from, at least not from government.
Yeah.
So I get that played some.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and Chacho will get because you're over a year.
Yeah, and Chacho is at the age where you could still get
2
years.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's an interesting consideration.
Yes, and very legally good, well done.
The now Prime Minister outgoing MP Jacobs has, in her last contribution to Parliament, has entered a budget amendment. According to her, it's to deal with the school after school programs and youth programs that were defunded in the last budget. She thinks that problems for the youth and so should be maintained. So there was an amendment to have monies put aside for these things to continue. We're having problems with our education system. First of all, Parliament itself agrees that we don't have the skills we want, and our children are not progressing the way we would like it to give the country the needs. And secondly, there's a large dropout rate.
Which we have not handled for years.
We haven't handled. So I don't understand why the government will defund programs for schools and youth programs.
I don't understand it neither. Seeing the problem that you have, seeing the drop-up rate you have, especially among boys between 15 and 18, I have not seen a structured plan or a structured study done. How are we going to solve this problem? I've read several recommendations, but a research have not been done for us to really solve this problem. And you know, we said from the beginning, we're going to use our university students more and more to do this kind of research for government. Now government, I heard Mr. Smith saying the input to the university will be for 2020 over 2 million guilders. So okay, let us start using the university students to do all the research as possible, so we have, you know, tangible or very strong evidence at hand for we to solve our problem, and not on recommendation and what you think and what she think and what this one here think in this school board and all. These are the issues. These what the research brought up, and this is the way we're going to solve it. And let me go down that street.
Two other things we needed that was announced this week, and I considered it political ploys. I consider it that way because they've been running for 2 years. The Minister of Finance was there, and there was absolutely no movement on these things. And now, lo and behold, their term is up. They're moving out of the government. All of a sudden, we're getting a move. The first one is the payment of the police arrears and the fixing of the function book and stuff like that. There was an agreement with Parliament with the sale of the UTS shares, part of the sale, that the monies would be used to fix the police salaries and their function books and so on. Because this has been a 10-year project that was never dealt with, because we knew before that even though we had said how good things would be when we leave the Antilles, we forgot that services given by the central government will have to be taken up by us, and we didn't take that along. But we had the option to pay the police. We have budgeted money, 4 million guilders, I believe, in the last budget, to take care of the assistance we get from the police out of the Netherlands. But a 10-year program running where the local police has not been paid, we didn't deal with. So I find it a real political ploy, but now that you're leaving office, you make an agreement to give an advance. What is an advance? We had decided that the monies from the sale of UTS would be used to fix it. The same minister decided not to settle bills with TLM and left the police again on the sideline. Now I understand the unions have to take something, be able to tell their members something, but I think this is unfair and it's just politics.
Again, come back to our conversation. After going into 10-10 as a country, we were faced with all these very legally complicated issues that we didn't have the resources. And when I say resources, I mean the human resources to help us solve these kind of problems. Mr. Duncan did a great job of starting all these things, but these issues remain an issue and remain a serious issue all over the years going in. Never solved them. Every minister complicated. That's why I always said to people, the Ministry of Justice is a very complicated ministry that you need someone who do understand that ministry. Any koi boy, everybody want to become minister, but they can't handle it because it's a very, very, very difficult. And you need to understand, you need to know, and you don't have the legal background, and you don't have the right support of legal experts around you, you cannot solve those issues in the justice ministry. But we don't listen. We put anybody become minister of justice, and then these problems keep mounting up, and it reached a stage now. Not only the police, it's not only the prison, it's all over the justice chain. Serious problem we're having. We have to get these things solved for once and for all. And the only way you will get these solved for once and for all, you have to accept one fact. You don't have the financial means to solve these things. You have this money coming in, but let us be honest, you have so much bills and so much problem to take care of that you have to pick and choose. What is fair for you is unfair for some other person. What is fair for this department is unfair to another department. So this is the situation that any minister will find themselves from. Now politically, it is great to pay the police right now. Okay? Because you're talking votes to that particular person who makes sure that happens. And I think they are due their money, but we have to sit down now. You have to put a steering committee in place and to get this problem solved for once and forever. Once and all. Finish it off. See what is owed, what is really owed, what you have to do, how it can be paid. And don't create in these financial stunts, because now you will give them what do you call a deposit or advance, a voorschot, and then maybe next 5-6 years now you don't get nothing, they keep piling up again. That's exactly my thing. It's you understand?
That we should have solved because it's been 10 years.
Come on.
And I find it very, disingenuous and unfair to the uniformed services, because you ask these people to go out there and work overtime and thing. I can still remember during Carnival when our help from the Netherlands refused to work during Carnival. These guys put in a ton of overtime, and then they left to wait, and they have families. I don't think
Definite. But we have to create. We know the Justice Ministry and we know the Health and Education Ministry are ministries that are going to cost government a lot of money. So the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of TIAT have to work hard to create investment for this country, to create wealth to this country, to create tax, that people pay more tax, not people pay more tax, that more tax money comes in to the coffers, that it can be, these ministries and others can be paid and run smoothly. We need that, and that we are not getting. We are not getting that. So those ministries, their cost is going up every day, every minute that we speak, every second that they are running, the costs keep coming up, going up. And you're not pulling, or you don't have no resource, no money coming in from the other ministries that have to create that. You will have this problem forever if we don't reach to solve these problems, these financial economic problems we have.
The other thing that the outgoing minister announced is that the launching of the tenders for the cleanup of the lagoon. They mentioned the Simpson Bay Lagoon. No mention was made of the Isapon Lagoon,
Yeah.
which also has some sunken ships and wrecks and so. But again, this too I find real politically motivated, because we've been here 2 years talking about the cleanup of the lagoon, the removal of the wrecks, and nothing has happened. And when the minister is stepping out, now you launch the tenders. I think those are things that are designed to fool people, to create them.
But you know what the steering committee and World Bank decided to do, because they noticed that government in St. Martin and bureaus and all of that is working on such a slow pace, like they're moving like snails. So they decided now to create these envelopes of I would say envelope of money, that so that money can be there, destined there, and remain there until the ministry have done their work of presenting their demands and presenting their study done how to get this money here to finance those issues. So the steering committee in the World Bank started putting these money envelope and putting them aside until the ministries can present their work done to collect their money. Because again, lack of not having personnel to help write all these dossiers and help write all these things. We don't have these people. You know, one of the things is something that we have so wrong in our own people. And my father always tell me that if you don't tell people your needs, people will never know what you can do. If you pretend to be a mechanic and want to fix a car, but you don't have no mechanical skill and you don't have no mechanic indoor, you're only going to create people bringing work to you and all these jobs standing in front of your room or your office, and you can't fulfill. And this was happening with us, with all this money that we got as a grant. Let me put that specified as a grant from the Netherlands, supervised by the World Bank to do it. It's not their fault that the thing is so bad. World Bank also, but most of the fault lays with us. We are not presenting the plans and fast enough to get these money released. We are not doing it.
But I have a real problem with that. I tell you why. One of the reasons, so basically, what this outgoing government claim was the raison d'etre, was to help the people get their roofs back on, help bring the economy back, help clean up the dump. Those were the priorities. And according to the report that was made, that came out when at the establishment of the trust fund, the status of the reconstruction, it says that priorities shall be set by St. Martin. So I can't understand. After 2 years, you would not have carried out your priorities. What are the priorities then? That's what I'm having a problem with. If you set the priorities, and we have already identified those things in our damage assessment after the hurricanes. 2 years after, nothing done? How do you...
But then there's something wrong, that the information coming from government is not truthfully forthcoming. Because if we know that these things have been said and government is not telling us, then government maybe is not telling us what is the real problem. I can't expect the steering committee to tell me anything, because we have a one-man representing the steering committee. The Netherlands and the World Bank have the person. So I don't expect to go and question. Still, I suppose to question my government and be truthful for me and tell me what's really happening. Government has been coming with if you don't speak to the people them in the game, you don't understand this really why it's taking so long. And yes, the procurement rules that the World Bank have created sometimes is extra exorbitant, and they also is new in this, because they have never find themselves in a situation where they had to build up something from scratch. Okay, so they also are new in it, and we also are new working with them, working with kind of institution like them. But then we lack, one of the major problems we lack a lot of expertise to help us do the work. We lack these kind of people. And I don't know, when I walk in the office of the NRPB, I see a lot of, I see, let me put it like this, I see a lot of people who don't look like me. You understand? So meaning they had to bring in expertise from somewhere, telling me that they don't have much people like me to do this work.
That's unfortunate. One of the misconceptions, and I remember Minister Plaster selling this a lot back in 2017 and 2018, that yes, the World Bank has all this experience in reconstruction, which was not true. That's not what the World Bank does. The World Bank manages money. Money from donors, from rich countries to third world countries and stuff like that. And the management is not, but they don't do actual reconstruction. It was still for St. Martin to present their plans and their wishes on how they wanted to reconstruct their country. And I don't know if other people saw, but I didn't see any.
Listen, I have met personally over between 20 and 30 different, not the same, different consultant guys who came and working for the World Bank in all stages and all different expertise, and these guys was coming, and this one you see this week, another one you see another 1 week. So that's the way it was. They themselves, they're bringing in all kind of people to solve certain problem that they are not too much aware, and then they create this whole book of recommendation what to do, and they really, with our government, creating more stagnation than progress. This is more stagnation than progress. I don't see why a project could have written for roof to get the money for the roof, and that money could not be released, so that the government could have just go out on a rampage and fix all of those roofs. I don't understand why. Or I didn't understand why that government couldn't put that money forward, awaiting that money to come from the World Bank once they wrote the project. Also, I don't understand why. I mean, I could mention you maybe 10 reasons how they could have done it, and wait for that money to come from the World Bank and still have these things done. I can't understand it. You still have the project for the education department with all these schools. I heard over $35 million been parked aside in the envelope for the education department because they're waiting for all these project dossiers to present it to the World Bank to get this money released. So it's not only that, it's just going on with several projects, the police, the building, the prison, the Ministry of Finance talked about yesterday about these small and medium loans that will be about something like 20 million, something like that. Suddenly these things come to light just before election date. These things are always in St. Martin, they come to light before election date. Always big project and investment project coming to St. Martin come to light before election date. I don't know how come, if it was like that, why didn't you had a development plan with the Chamber of Commerce and created these things here. We had this you remember that development department we had there on Carnegie not Carnegie Street, Camille Richardson Street, where Ludwig used to work.
Yeah.
If you're going to do
Small
some,
business or
small business, some other small business development, something like that. If you're going to take that amount of money from the World Bank up, write a project, then why you don't set up a development bank one time with your expertise, local expertise, maybe World Bank expertise to help you move it, working in collaboration but start working on it. Don't give me this Nazi story that I know, I will guarantee that by July next year is not done.
Look, I have a problem with this, and a good thing you brought up the Chamber of Commerce, because a lot of things, the Chamber of Commerce is supposed to be an advisory body to government.
Yeah.
But we have discussed this before by using them much more professionally to help us out, even in the tax compliance and so, because I know in other countries in the Dutch Caribbean where the Chamber of Commerce is used to help with compliance, because all these businesses have to be registered somewhere.
Yeah.
The Chamber of Commerce have a better ledger on the businesses than government does.
Yeah.
So it would be easier. But as far as this incentive or this money set aside for micro, small and medium businesses concerned, you can't help but look at it as an campaign ploy. You know why?
Yeah.
Back in early 2018, the Bankers Association had asked government to set aside a guarantee fund. So they wasn't going to use it, just a fund there.
Yeah.
To guarantee that the bank don't take all the risk, and you could speed up loans to the small businesses, medium, even the larger businesses, to try get the economy back on track.
Yeah.
We must realize as a country, as a people, that the economy is important to the bankers also, because that's how they do business.
Yeah, sure.
18 months and counting, and nothing was decided. 1,000 Council of Ministers press briefing, not a word on this issue. All of a sudden, the government is out, and now we find a way to get money set aside for the micro, small, and medium business. It's a ploy. These things should not be happening. Another thing I need to see, as is done in Curacao and so on, we're up and down with all this. First of all, I think, and that's my personal opinion, that we went the wrong way about checking for compliance and taxes, starting with a building before starting with personnel. We have poorly or non-trained personnel to deal with these things, and a building isn't going to make it better. But be that as it may, that's where we are. But we can, like I said before, all of these businesses must be registered by the chamber to be able to do business here. So if we had the chamber would assist us in making sure that these people pay, because it's done elsewhere, they'll have to report to the chamber. They have periodic time to report what is going, and then government will be able to use the receivers or their inspectors to, hey guys, what about? But we don't use the chamber. The chamber sometimes asks for meetings with government, can't get them because government have no time with nobody else.
Yeah.
So we are in this thing because we refuse to govern. We're not governing. We're hoping that with some kind of good luck or some kind of celestial blessing, things are going to go good all the time.
Yeah, but that's what we believe in 2019 going into 2020, that things, and this is truly, it's so sad that people think that we are blessed, that we have holy water blessing on us. In the meantime, when we have this holy water blessing on us, other Caribbean countries are passing us little by little. I mean, 5 years ago, St. Kitts was number 5 in cruise ship calls. Today, they are number 3, and the lady,
Climbing.
huh?
And climbing.
And the lady of
Michelle Page,
Michelle
I
Page
realize it, yeah.
said that very clearly. In the next 2 to 3 years, you will be on the second second place. So we're not taking our economy seriously, and as you said, the infighting between department heads and government and ministers Tax office don't want, telling you yes, they don't want to go minister. You find the IT want to create a one frame that everybody could just move into each other. I will give you a simple example. And how I mean, you wonder if I am a person that's sitting outside could see the problem. How you who are working with it cannot see the problem. I'm going to look for police record at Simpson Bay, and I have to buy a registration paper
Yeah.
at the same Simpson Bay for me to fill the same paper and give them to it. I mean, why can't you just collect me, look into the system, you see BUTE,
It's on the computer.
and send it over to the...
Yeah, charge me for it. But
Charge me for it. You're letting me buy papers and then give it to the same office back? I mean, last week, traveling, we coming back, noticed a serious problem at the airport. The hall of immigration is so small that it can't take the amount of jets, the people are not coming off the jets, standing in the hot sun. And somewhere, somehow, this November sun is like September. People are standing 30 minutes or more in the hot sun. Now, why should I, BUTE, be outside and say, guys, what about we just put up a bigger tent where the older tent was? Or get back that air-conditioned tent put there, that we go give this extra service, even if it costs us some more money, but let me give this extra service because our reputation is online. We already have messed our reputation up of not rebuilding our airport in time, and now we giving these people a bad service of letting standing in the sun all of 30, 35, 45 minutes. And it's going to get worse in the season. Do I have to be an outsider to notice that that solution have to be done? I mean, why are we not caring and understanding and finding a solution for our own country? Why are we not doing it? St. Martin people was not like that. St. Martin people was not like that. We ourselves, St. Martin people, is killing our country, and this thing is hurting me every day.
I don't know what I don't know, honestly. And for me, at least, I said this 1,000 times, there's nobody in charge in Phillipsburg. I mean, that's where the leadership is supposed to sit. And if no direction or nothing is being given, everybody is on a free ride, like, just let it run down.
ELTON, you know what the problem is? Greed have taken over this country. Greed have taken over this country, and when a person become greedy, they don't think no more. They just do things. And we pass in that greedy attitude, that greedy thoughts to our children, and we are not solving and creating mementos and bringing this country back where it was. I am so happy that our leaders then before all died, that they didn't have to be walking around and seeing the mess that we have created for this country. And that's the only thing we could say, we have created a mess. Because we can't show nothing that the advancement that we were and where we are today, and show that we have done better. There's nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. And that's a shame.
The government was talking about a motion that will give government the authority to sign because of a motion that passed before the bondholders don't have credit. But I take a look at what is happening in our government. To the man in the street, Parliament is there for oversight and to make laws.
Yeah.
Basically. That's the way they understand it. Normally, when a coalition is together, this coalition pass some laws in Parliament. It should be normally expected that the government will sign on to these new laws so they can be implemented. I name some for you. The timeshare law already passed, not yet activated because none of the government signed on to it. Coalition supporting them. The short-term contract, the abuse of the short-term contract, la passed. Nothing on it. The maternity paternity leave law passed. No action. And now the same member of parliament has come up with a new law proposal on rape.
Yeah.
So extend
The age of
penalty.
Penalty.
On
Incarceration penalty.
rape, yeah. And also to add to that the possibility of abortion in case of rape or
Yeah.
serious threat to the health of the mother. Right? All good initiatives, but we can don't care what a parliamentarian come up with, the laws will be presented by a minister. Minister have to buy into it. It has to come to parliament. And those that are already passed, I don't understand why government not sign on. That if government have had some objection, and they would have said so before, so they had no objection that I know of.
Yeah.
So why the things are still just lying there? And then you hear about parliament ain't passing no laws. They ain't passed many, but these that were passed are essential. They should be active by now. They would have been in the Gazette for the regular time already, been active. Nothing is happening. So how do you see that part of the functioning of government?
I think those things are seriously. Even though government have, I will give you now example, the short-term contract. Even though the amendment that have been made has gone to what you said, and government not signing off, those things are political motivated things. They could say what they want to me. I don't see why a government, with instruction from parliament, will not pass or do their job for these things to get fixed. They are political motivated. They maybe certain sector of our economy have hands or controlled certain part of these things, and it's supposed to stay there and lie down, and then leave us there because a hungry man will become angry. But that's why it happened here in St. Martin. Nothing will happen about it. He will still remain he will still remain passive. The private sector is playing games with the people. They will tell him, listen, I'll fix your salary, but I'll still give you minimum wage, but I give the rest on the table. And then the workers them accept these kind of things. So what you want to do is much you can do. The only thing you can do is educate people and through these forums, radio and TV, educate people and let them know that what's going on is wrong. But this is very little you can do when the people that they chose to put, the people chose to put in parliament, and then parliament chose certain other people to become the ministers. So directly, indirectly, they are the people that the people wanted there, and they are not looking out for the people. Then I have a problem, and then I go back to the same thing. How much do these people care? And when I hear them speak on the floor of parliament or in the COM forum, how they love this country daily, but then help solve the problem of this country. Help solve the problem. I'm not seeing these problems being solved. I'm not saying they're solutions. They are solutions, and they are quick solutions. But I'm not seeing the problem them being solved.
What do you think about the law proposal on rape, first of all, and secondly, how do you see us in our system of law making or forming a sexual predatory register, so for predators to register that they are sexual predators? How would it work in our society?
Listen, any rape for me, anything to do with rape for me is a no. It's a horrible thing for me. Point. I don't care what it is, what the situation is. Anything to have to do with rape for me. For me, they could block that person and then throw away the key. But yes, you live in a very small society. Somebody could have committed something. Some guys could have committed some badly act when they were young, 11, 12 years, or 13, 14, 15 years. And then they become a registered person. And then these things, I think most of the time, I don't know for how long. I didn't read the amendment for the law, how long it's supposed to be. But in the U.S., it's for life. So everywhere you do, everywhere you go, you have that in your record. For small society, it will impact you. You better get off the island and go work, live somewhere else. I can't see you function in a society if that is a possible. Even if you did something 15, 20 years ago, and you will never get over it. That I'm not saying and not support. I support it 100%. But the impact it could have on a person's life who have done something maybe when he was 15 years and at 25 maybe went to school, studied, got his degrees, come back home to work, and he can't get a job because of that conviction and that stigma that is for the rest of his life that he have to report as a sex offender.
I think
it have consequences,
it
but
has
not that I am not going to. I will support the amendment 100%. But in our system, changing those kind of laws, it also have to go in agreement. We have to, the other parties, they have to look at.
it must be in agreement with our penal code.
Code,
That's what I was
yes.
going to say, that in
Yeah.
our system, I don't know about the registration. Our system is based on rehabilitation.
Yes.
The concept of rehabilitation, when somebody would have done the term, I don't know of anywhere in the kingdom where it has been so that you had to register
No.
that you were something.
I'm not
like
sure
that.
neither.
So I find it to be especially in some island where basically you stand up one place and everybody that pass
Yeah.
either by seeing them before or by first name. It's a difficult situation to implement. Not that I'm against it being implemented. I'm talking about the practicality of it working.
Yeah, definite. And I understand the member of parliament doing her job because at the end of the day, most of the people who are victim of this kind of crime are women, are young kids, young boys and girls. So some kind of way you have to protect them. You have to protect them. And then those monsters who do a crime like that, because that's the only thing I can put you under. That especially when you deal with kids. I think because of more the how horrible that crime is, it makes the member of parliament thinks of this more severe punishment for that particular person.
Okay, let's go back to the inquiry. There was a lot of discussion on the inquiry, and the last questions that the presenter had to answer was, how these people are going to be paid, how you're going to put a commission together. In the article on the inquiry, it says that you have to put a commission and what the powers the commission have. What it doesn't say is how you go about managing the budget. Also, it doesn't say because while Parliament has its own budget, the budget is managed by the
Finance department.
the government finance department.
Yeah.
And then if you hire people, what do you hire them based on? What? There's no ordinance saying how you could bring in people to do this for whatever period of time it takes. And the legislation says that the inquiry doesn't stop with the parliament that's sitting. So if another parliament is elected,
They go ahead with it.
it goes ahead.
Yeah.
So it might be a long-term thing. How do you see that going forward and having the necessary funds? They have estimated it as 520,000 and having the funds available if it lasts more than a year, yearly, to keep it going, because it has to come to an end sometime.
Now, that figure I find extremely low. Seeing the kind of expertise that you have to have on the commission, you're talking about a financial legal issue where you have to have accountant and lawyers to go through these things, and these people are not cheap. These people,
Not Mr. Madden or not.
if you take a cheap shit, these people goes between 500 and 1,000 guilders an hour. So I don't see 500 or 20,000 guilders is anything. No. If you tell me a million or two on the budget for this year, of in 2020, I could understand. But again, we have never done inquiry, and there's other part of the kingdom that have done it, and I think we should, some kind of way, the parliament should put a financial commission in place who will say, listen, to get an idea what the inquiry will cost, you know, where in the kingdom where they have done this already, you know, seriously, I have them come down and give you a guideline how for you to work on this, or to calculate for you to have to get a good idea what it may cost you, you know. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It have been done in the kingdom. Speak to our kingdom partners who are expert, who has done this already a couple of times, and they could guide you for you to create something realistic, a realistic budget to do this work.
I don't remember. I read a lot about parliamentary enquete in the Netherlands and Antilles, but I don't remember any being done there until this.
Yeah, sure. The money they make from the Sabre.
Oh, the Sabre monetary.
Yeah, when Bring had to Minister De Castro had to resign as Minister of Finance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember.
With the coin that they make.
I remember the coin.
And they lost a bunch of money with it. Yeah, never forget that. Yeah.
One of the arguments that is being used that the road that runs through Mother Bay, so St. Martin has accepted that this is a private, that it is a public road. And you can accept what you want, that doesn't make it so.
No, we should know
because
if legally
the
it
other
is.
partner, exactly, the other partner thinks it's his.
Yeah.
And that must be clarified, because somewhere down the line, it might come to a confrontation, and you have to have legal feet to stand on when you get in these kind of arguments. The other argument was, and this I know for sure from my days at the airport, because when we were filling part of the lagoon, we had to take this into consideration. The United Nations considered the mullet pond, that part of the lagoon that by the mangrove that breeds mullets, is the largest one in this part of the world in the Caribbean, and it's an international protected area,
A heritage area.
but they considered theirs also.
Yeah.
So I think to say that it is accepted as such is not good enough. We need to get the facts into a
No. We have to, you know, again, here it goes that you have your legal team research to do all of these research. And not only, do all of these research to say on what ground we stand. And you need the commission. And each, maybe if you have 3 or 4 experts in the commission, I will give you very easy how this thing will cost so much money. If you have 3 or 4 experts you put in the commission, each expert will have his team of expertise to run his part. You know, so simple it is. They are ready where the money blows up. Because if you have a financial person, you have a legal person, and you have an accountant person, financial, legal, and economically, and someone else for them, who have to drop all these reports.
They have a team.
They have all of them have their team working with.
One thing I find strange in the budget is we know for a fact. I mean, we have an Antillean guilder, but I don't remember any contracts of this nature being given in guilders. So why it's in guilders, I don't understand. Because everybody here charges you dollars for anything, even for water.
Because guilders are legal
Tender. But
tender.
I'm saying if you take this law with a 520, it would be easy to convert it or just make it
300,000.
Yeah, $1 million something, and then
I said to you, 520,000 can't pay nothing. So they better.
The other fears that we have with this thing and that we need to look at that will affect the economy, even as much as the fact that it's not been there for 24 years. The prosecutor's office has a stake in here now. They are now investigating that also. And the central bank, CBCS, is also do. The fear is that one of these institutions, or both of them maybe, put liens or put seizure on things, and then they get a court case, they win it, and they go over to auction and what is now mine, and I would have lost it all.
Mr. Jones, I've been saying that from day one. So I applaud this gentleman, Mr. Bryson, way of looking, because I wrote this on my page. I said, if we don't be careful pursuing this issue of Mother Bay to get Mother Bay back in St. Martin's hands, we will lose it. And you said it very carefully, you said it very brightly. One of these institutions and then they get it in their hands. For legal reason, it falls in their hands, and they put it on auction. And there it goes through our fingers. So it's very important. We sat for 20-something years quietly, watching how this thing, and didn't say nothing. And then we want to use all argument that this young man is doing to do something for his country, that he sees that, listen, if I don't do something there, my children will, this will be a history for me to tell my children about Mullet Bay. Because he himself, he could remember going there, but he don't have no going there and having a bath and all of that. But we don't know Mullet Bay, this vibrant economic place down at Maho area, and you see all of these buses coming out at 5 o'clock, and people, I mean, it was like a whole city down there.
We have spoken about the economy. The last time I spoke to a member, or the president of the St. Martin Hotel and Trade Association, he said we were back to 68% of where we were prior to Irma, and they expected by the season for it to be 70+%. How do you see the development of the economy going forward?
But wait, when you said those figures, is room
availability,
okay,
room availability from the hotels and resort properties.
You need more to that study, in the sense that I don't see when he tell you you will be this, but I am not seeing where he's telling you the people are coming here to overnight. How much how much you have it increased, where it was, where it is, and where you want it to go. All of these figures intertwine with each other. So some of these figures, I mean, telling you that your rooms are going to be, you will have more rooms, and not telling you that you're going to have more rooms because our stayovers are also going up. These figures, we have this figure right now, but we are projecting now for the season to have that figure. You also have to have that information there, because based on that information also you will know what was the average spending of your people who stayed in a week, so your economy will have an injectory of this for this new season, so much money, blah, blah. These are the kind of report that we have to put on the table that other investors who is out of the sector, but how you would say indirect, these information influence them to invest in the country. And these things that should not be something that we have to wait until next year to get. These things are projectory report that you have to have at hand, that you can lay out to anybody, to any investor, and give a listen. This is our projectory for the 2019 season. Here is it. You know,
we have St. Martin has we have decided to go after mass tourism. The population growth has been so uncontrolled. They had to deal with it. The population grew beyond our control, so we had to go for mass tourism to feed.
I disagree with you with that word.
Well, it's mass tourism.
No,
because we stopped looking at the high.
Yeah, but you said our population growth.
Yeah.
And we were not responsible.
No, I said out of our control.
We
didn't control it.
Oh, okay.
We failed to control it.
Okay.
So we know what happened there.
Yeah.
Now we're going into a new phenomenon. The phenomenon now is all-inclusive properties. So somebody pays in Timbuktu, if you want to, Canada, United States, wherever. Everything is paid. They just come here to the airport from the airplane, owned most probably by the people who own the properties.
Yeah.
They get into a bus to go to the property. They stay a week, 10 days. They get back in the bus, go to the airport.
Yeah.
How do you see that affecting the economy?
I don't see it personally affecting the economy, because you have countries the size of St. Martin are a little bigger, but islands that have that service. But you have to have a quota. How much are you going to allow? That is the important question. How much of these properties are you going to allow with your other properties? There have to be a study done that we only will allow so much
All inclusive.
all inclusive. And Aruba have done that study, and I don't know if I can't speak of other English countries, so I could speak about Aruba. And I think they even put a moratorium on that once, that government had to go and leave the moratorium to leave one or two all inclusive want to be built, and then they said with all inclusive now it have reached the ceiling, no more all inclusives. So you have to really have, again, to go back to what we said in the beginning, have you these studies done that you can manage so much of these property, because all inclusive properties, don't forget, at the end of the day still give job employment to people. But the ratio of tourists staying in all inclusive and going out and then spending more money into is less than the other kind of establishment you have. But it's not that they are, because then what you find in all inclusive businesses that a lot of companies establish their business into the resort.
Okay. So the SDM is not running, so I guess I'm going to see you on Friday signing up a list for somebody who need a signature.
Oh yes, I could support somebody, but Friday won't be there. I'm going to cigar convention in Curacao. Habanos having a nice cigar convention, 2 days. You know, we will be Friday and Saturday from morning until night here, trying all the best Cuban cigars and enjoying ourselves at Santa Barbara Resort. Monday we will be back. You know, so I if Monday there's any party that still need a signature, I will support them. It doesn't matter. I will support them.
Okay, radio listeners, TV viewers, we've come to the end of today's program. On behalf of BUTE, myself, and 98.1 FM, we want to thank you for listening and for following the show. Do have a pleasant day further. Goodbye.